How's it going, Mr. Rice?
Hold on. Good. All good.
What are your thoughts on Mr. Hamilton and how dangerous he can be?
Well, just ask Colorado State at home. I mean, Colorado State's a great team, and they rolled in there, and not just him. It wasn't just him. And now he was extraordinary and one of the best performances I've seen in this league, and I've seen some good ones, and that ranks right there with them. But it's not just that. It's in the last 5 games, he's averaging 28 or almost 29. I mean, that's remarkable in this league. And no, they're playing great. They've won 3 out of the last 4, and they won at Colorado State. They beat Nevada, and they just beat Air Force by 34. I mean, that's playing. They're playing good, really good. Can't say enough about them.
I know you don't like big picture questions, so I'll try to phrase this properly. But just you look at the Mountain West standings, and I know that's, guys, obviously your goal is to win the Mountain West. How do you look at the race and kind of the lack of a margin for error? I mean, Wyoming keeps holding serve with you guys, and it's going to be a heck of a battle, it seems like, this last month.
Yeah, every game's, it's the craziest year. And because show me an easy game. I mean, ask San Diego State last night. That wasn't an easy one. And, Tim Miles has won this league before, I think. Maybe they didn't win. No, I don't think they won it, but he's had really good teams in this league before. And there's no game, and I'm not just talking about us, I'm talking about any team. There's no game where somebody can just stroll out and go, well, we're 30 points better than you, and it's going to all go the way as planned tonight, and we're going to win by 30, plus points. It's the best it's ever been from top to bottom, I have to think.
Do you find yourself watching games saying, oh, I hope they lose to help us, or this or that? Or how do you look at the league race? Obviously, you want to win the title, I'm sure. And so how do you look at how other results impact that?
No, I quit doing that a long, long time ago. That's, you think you know what you want on that day, but sometimes that changes too. Sometimes a team that, this is a marathon. So the ones that you think you're fighting that you think are fighting for first might end up not being the ones, you just never know. And like I said, with this league, I mean, it could be anybody.
And final one for me, I guess, you do look at this next stretch you have starting now. I mean, you look at the home games you have, the opportunities you have. I mean, we've talked about it, but you guys put yourself in a position, and now you got to kind of take advantage of what you did before with the home games and stuff here. How do you look at this 4 weeks?
The past has nothing to do with this next game. Nothing to do with it. We've battled our tails off, and we've competed, and we've won a bunch of close games and been really, really good. Do we get to start up 10-0 or 20-0 because of that? No, they don't. It's not like the golf tournament or whatever that you have a 10-stroke lead because of what you did in the preseason. No, not at all. And that's what we've been so good at, is just, we got one game right now, and it's against a really, really good team, a really hot team, a team that's, made so much progress, and, credit to Coach Kruger and his staff of what they're doing, and credit to those players. They're good, really good. But I think we've been really good, and it's going to be 2 terrific teams battling in at late night and Extra Mile Arena. So hopefully we'll have a great crowd, because we need this crowd to get us through it tomorrow.
I also have a big picture question, but I don't think it will be upsetting. We have talked in previous years about the different basketballs that are used in the Mountain West, and how you guys kind of practice with those. Why is it important to know which basketball you're going to be playing with?
Well, that's one of the head scratcher thing that I can't believe we can't get fixed in NCAA is why don't we just everybody uses the ball that we use in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's ridiculous to, you shoot with your ball all year long, and then you go somewhere else and shoot with somebody else's ball. And there was a school in this league, and I'm not going to mention, because I don't want to mention the brands or whatever, but they were used an off-brand basketball that was like something like if you were at the park and a buddy brought that and said, hey, let's play with this ball, you'd be like, no, and you'd kick it over somebody's fence so you didn't have to play with it. And we'd play games with those balls or you'd kick it in the street and hope a car ran over it. They were so bad. And so it's just a preposterous thing that you use different balls at, I mean, I don't think there's any other sport that does something as weird as that when you really think about it. And so it's one of those things that no one ever really talks about, but man, and shooters they get affected by things, weird things. I've coached a lot of shooters that were, if Richie Fromm missed a shot in the first half, he'd change his undershirt, he'd change his sweatbands, he'd change his shoes. At halftime, you'd have to wait till he was done changing his outfit if he had a bad first half. And so now you're going to take those kind of guys and, all right, now here's the ball you're using. I know it's one you've never used before. It's one you wouldn't even use in an outdoor park, but go ahead, use it. And so it's a weird thing. And, the home team chooses the ball. And so, you get to choose the one you're used to there, but on the road, you can see all kinds of different things depending on where you're playing.
I talked to all 11 Mountain West teams, and most of them do practice beforehand with an opponent's ball when they're on the road. So why do you think, you kind of said it, but, kind of spell out for me why you think that's important to practice with?
Yeah, no, I completely said it. It's just, they just have to be familiar. They have to have a good feel for it, and it has to feel good in their hands. And, that's the biggest key. Shooters have to be confident. Number one thing in shooting the ball is confidence. And sometimes if the ball feels weird in your hands or slippery or, that gets in your head a little bit, and you don't want any thoughts like that in your head when you're a shooter.
The one which I don't know you'll be able to answer, but I've also put out some feelers to the Mountain West. Do you know why the Adidas schools use the Wilson ball?
Adidas must not make a ball.
Well, I looked online and there are Adidas basketballs, but I wonder if they're just not up to quality, or I don't know. I'll see what Mountain West says, but I wasn't really sure why that.
Yeah, I can't answer that one.
Okay, no worries. All right, thank you.
Hey, Leon, how's it going?
Hey, good, Jordan.
Just wanted to make sure. So E-Man is playing on Friday, or is good to go?
Don't know yet.
Gotcha. What do you kind of think? You've mentioned it the last couple of weeks of how do you guys help Lawton get going?
It's a confidence thing too. And sometimes it's matchup, but it's a confidence. Let's get his offense. His defense is always consistent. Yeah, he's been whistled for too many fouls that, we try to help him watch some film and see how he can guard without fouling just a little bit better. Or, some of them have been tricky calls and that kind of stuff. But, again, I want our guys down the stretch here playing with the most confidence they've ever, their most confident self, the most confident group that we've ever had. And that's how I want them playing down the stretch, not just him, everybody.
You've mentioned trying to get some of your bench pieces really more involved in the game. Is there a strategy in how to do that, but also kind of make sure your starters and key pieces are still keeping their rhythm?
Well, you can't, you start coaching for other things and it screws you up. Like, oh, I got to get this guy minutes and that guy minutes and this rotate. You coach every game. What gives your team the best chance to win it? And if you make every decision on that, you're going to, that gives you the best chance. If you start having to make decisions on, well, I'd like to keep this game close to fire up the lineman for next year. Well, that's crazy.
This is kind of a weird week for you guys. I mean, you have 5 days off and then you're playing twice in 3 days. I mean, how do you scout two teams, or do you just kind of scout UNLV right now? Then when that game's over, you scout Colorado State. How does that work?
We break it up in our staff. So no one is, I can't be distracted by anything else. So the players can't be distracted by anything other than UNLV. And that's it. That's all we've done. And but there's other people on the staff that have everything ready for. So, the thing is that we don't get our usual, okay, you have until midnight. No, that clock starts ticking the moment that first one ends. But until that ends, we don't even, it's all UNLV.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're still going to be playing at midnight. That's why, right?
Yeah, probably. You're right. That's true. This is our first 9 o'clock this year, isn't it?
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Leon, this roster, I'm putting together my charts and getting ready for the game on Friday night. There was one name that I recognized from last year, and that was Bryce Hamilton. 9 transfers and a whole new coaching staff. So give me the Cliff Notes version. What does this team like to do, and what do they do best?
Well, from what I've seen, they've really grown as the way they move the ball as the season's gone on, and they have a pretty clear understanding of their roles. They have great scorers, not just Bryce, but guys that can really, really shoot. And, guys that are I think the biggest thing that I've seen is probably their guys are settling into their roles. And that's the key to a team is guys know what their roles are. And it looks like they're really starting to figure those out.
So if you're going to scout a team and you were only limited to, say, a couple of games to watch and you couldn't go back, are the ones most recent the most valuable, or would somebody maybe that's similar to you be more valuable?
Yeah, both, Bob. It could be both, but we always, the last 5 are always really important when we scout because that's going to tell you what their tendencies are now. But, it doesn't mean we don't go all the way back. I mean, I spent time watching last year's games, and then I was like you. I was like, wait a minute, these teams are both of us. I think when I watched last year's games of us, we are so different. And, you wouldn't think that would be the case, that would be that different, but we really are when I watched last year's games. And certainly UNLV is too.
All right, I was just looking at the numbers from last year. One of the games was much more lopsided than the other. And one of the games that was lopsided, you guys did a better job on Hamilton. So compare the 2 games. What'd you do in one game with Hamilton when you had more success slowing him down than the other game when he had like 26?
Well, he got going, man. He did. He got going in that second one. And, a great scorer like him, you're not going to shut him out. And especially, it's one thing to try for 40 minutes, but the way, when I look back on, that's the crazy thing. It just seems like so long ago we were playing those back-to-backers. That was crazy. I mean, with no fans, Lord sakes, knock on wood, I never want to go through that again after watching that. And but it's like I said, you can keep a score down for minutes here and there, but to think that you're going to shut out a score like that, and when you're talking about 80 minutes, not going to happen.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
BJ, you got a quick follow-up?
Yeah, is this kind of what you're talking about, Leon, with the strength of the league when a team like UNLV is in 6th place?
It's crazy. And what is, Nevada's a program I have a ton of respect for, and I think they have great players, great coaches. What are they in right now?
8th place.
8th. I mean, that tells you something. No matter what, I don't care. When you got players like that and a coach like that and a home court like that, and they're in 8th place, I think that speaks volumes of this league. And you talk about when I watch this UNLV team on tape, you could just as easily say, well, they're, if you took off the names of the jerseys, you could say that's the 1st place team, isn't it? You could say that and be like, it sure looks like it. You watch some of their games and it looks like that. And that's, that's the margin for error that I'm talking about when, they look, you watch that Colorado State game. I think some of you have watched it. It was, wow, were they impressive.
We've seen the Rothsteins of the world, Andy Katz, all these national people, writing all these puff pieces about how great the league's doing this year. I mean, I know there's still 4 weeks left, but I mean, are you hopeful that
define a puff piece? What does that mean in your business?
Well, just a positive story about the league.
You said the word puff piece like something was negative. What is
No, maybe that wasn't the right word. Just a overly glowing positive story about the league, and it's justified.
Okay.
But I just mean like
what is a puff piece though? I'm curious because I might use that term again. I might throw that back at you, BJ. That was a nice puff piece you did.
Maybe an overly.
I just want to use it correctly.
I'm sure I've written plenty in my time. Just overly positive, maybe almost unfair.
To me, I envisioned a puff piece as like, what kind of candy does Max like to eat before the game, and or something crazy like that. That to me, that's a puff piece, right?
Okay. Yeah, we can discuss puff pieces down the road.
I don't think puff pieces is.
That wasn't the right word. Okay, that was the wrong. Get past the puff piece part. The real question was.
Let's start the question over, BJ.
Jordan,
in general,
teach him to use his words carefully. You guys are wordsmiths. You need to choose your words very, very carefully.
Okay, there have been plenty of positive stories. Positive. If I would have just replaced puff with positive, we wouldn't have had this 5 minutes.
Yeah. Then we would have got those 5 minutes back that we
yes.
never get back in our lives.
I was buying a Max Rice sweatshirt on the other window. Sorry.
No doubt.
No. So, just in general, the league, I guess. How hopeful are you that when it comes time that this league will get rewarded for how hard you're saying it is?
Yeah, because, history tells us, and that, there's the age-long debate that you guys debate about and fans debate about. And I mean, it is, I think I heard you talking to someone about analytics one day, and they said, well, I don't weigh winning as heavily as some of the other analytics. You're like, when did we lose our way with that? That's so goofy. And so my point to that being is some of these Power 5 schools, well, they can just play all these games and not have to win that many. And then they're like, oh, they're in, they win one of them. And it's like, well, they're in the term, so, I mean, it's a hard thing to evaluate all that stuff. And there's so many situations of apples to oranges, but like I said the other day, and I think this is what's kind of coming out of this league is the look test. I mean, take anybody and go play at Colorado State when it's rocking like the way it was rocking, and take anybody and go play at San Diego State. Take anybody and play at Boise or play at Wyoming or play, any of these. And it's going to be hard to get out unscathed. I know that. And so that's, we do pass the look test. I know that. And because there's, you look at this team we're talking about right now, this kid's one of the best scorers in the country. I mean, you can put him up against anybody, and his last 5 games, there hasn't been somebody better in the country than him as scoring the basketball. So that certainly does. And I hope that it gets rewarded. And the thing that you got to understand too, when it's like this, it's impossible to be perfect, and we've already eliminated that. Everybody's got a loss now. And, our only loss is Wyoming, and Wyoming's only loss is us at the turn. And so that's pretty darn close to perfect. They're about as close as you could possibly get in a league like this.
Just out Ken Pomeroy next time. It's all right. Come on.
I didn't say it. You said it. I didn't even know who it was. But I mean, my point is, that those analytics are great. But in the end, it's still a 0-sum game, and we have a task to do, and that's our mission. And that's what that's what people are evaluated on, not whether this guy got hot that night and they kept the margin within 8, or that's goofy. That's not what competition's about.
All right, guys, you good? All right, y'all.
That's why you get a 15